So lovely. Good evening, Zambia. Good evening, Africa, and warm welcome to the analysis program right here on KBN TV from Zambia's capital city, Lusaka. And I am your host, Innocent Piri. We've got quite a number of stories that have been lined up this evening as we reflect on some of the stories that, of course, took a center stage as of last week. And as usual in the studio, we've got quite, the big brainers, the big brains in the studio to analyze all these matters that we have. And we will start with the international relations expert in Ambassador Anthony, or if you are coming from Chinsali, Chipata, or Chadiza as it were, or perhaps maybe Dundumwezi, you may call him Anthony Mukwita. But for those coming from Brittany, UK, they will spice it up and say Anthony Mukwita. Ambassador, welcome. And good evening to you.
Brother Innocent Piri, our host with the most. It's ever so good to be hosted by you every Sunday evening. I'm most grateful and happy to be with you here with our brother, the pastor, and happy to be our usual guests in Lusaka, Zambia, for allowing us to be in your living rooms every Sunday evening and the ones beyond the borders. So I'm grateful. And today is also Palm Sunday. Yeah, so I'm hoping the pastor, I'm trying to challenge him to tell us a little bit of something. But I think it all means about love, loyalty, and unity.
When did you last read your Bible?
Last time my Bible app worked on the phone.
No. But for me, since you said I think,
so you can't crucify someone who said I think it means love, and so he said I think. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for that.
Great.
And let's hear from
PK, Pastor Kenneth Mambo. He joins us on set. PK, happy Sunday to you and good evening.
Good evening, IP, and happy Palm Sunday to our viewers, to UIP, and to my dear brother, the ambassador. Since I'm from Chinsali, Ambassador Anthony.
Especially when you come from Chinsali.
No,
it's a washout.
You know we're not cousins, eh?
No, you are.
Well,
you've forgotten about that declaration by which
I hope it has continued. We're talking about Palm Sunday. It's a very significant, calendar event within the Christendom.
Right.
We use it to celebrate or memorize or commemorate, if you like, what is called triumphant entry of Jesus Christ into Jerusalem. This is preceding his crucifixion and resurrection. Remember, we are heading towards Easter. So this is the triumphant entry of Jesus Christ into Jerusalem, leading to his crucifixion and resurrection.
See, I told you this man knows too much.
Yes, he has a lot. He has a lot. It's not about governance alone.
No. Yeah. So this is a prelude to Easter.
Yes.
The Son of God is going to be crucified soon.
Interesting. We'll leave it there. Let's get into these many stories that have been lined up this evening on the analysis. So in case you have just maybe arrived in Zambia, and welcome to KBN TV screens, where we get to analyze the stories without fear nor favor. Of course, some of these stories could be uncomfortable to some people, but to others they may sound quite comfortable. But remember, we are here basically to sharpen our democratic space in Zambia. Let's get into the first story. Of course, we did that last week. One opposition leader in Brian Mundubile, president of the Tonsi Alliance, was summoned by the Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC, to answer to some allegations surrounding to some of his companies which were contracted to work on the roads in some parts of the country. And therefore, Brian Mundubile was one and cautioned according to the Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC. We will give you much of the details as we begin to analyze this story. But for now, let's start with some of the snippets of what transpired in this video.
Now we're giving what is what is
Okay, we will allow the state council to speak.
it's exciting to hear people shouting support for their president. So I hope I will be able to speak. Even us, we are surprised why we were brought to the police station today, so many years after. But now it's been alleged that he's being investigated for some payments that were received by the companies with which he was associated, for which that was not done. The lawyers had advised him to give, but we know what is happening. I think the whole country now is aware. Facebook, social media is a goal of how people are now beginning to perceive what is happening to the Tonzalans president. This is all coming out of his decision to present himself for leadership for the nation. Okay, I had said before, now we are dealing with one of the most popular opposition candidates to derail him and to stop him from going around to go and mobilize. He's actually scheduled to start, touring the nation. Because if you notice what happened at the airport, we don't have the passport back, we don't have his phones back, but we thought that in the absence of his international trips, we can begin to walk around the country to go and tell the people what we expect them to do on the 15th of August 2026. But even this now is being thwarted by these investigations that don't actually make any sense. But like I said, Honorable Mundubile and his team are not deterred. We are going to continue working. There is nothing wrong that Honorable Mundubile has done apart from presenting himself to lead this nation. And it has become very, very clear that being one of the most experienced opposition leaders in the country, having been the leader of opposition in parliament for over 4 years before he was unceremoniously removed by the UPND itself, he has now declared his intention to stand as a president. And to our supporters, please continue to support this president in your numbers, because it has become very, very clear that the UPND now is going to be very, very perturbed and scared of this individual. But Mr. Mundubile is bold, he is resolved, and he wants to present himself as president of this republic. And no investigation is going to stop us from doing our work. Thank you very much. Did you get to know? Even you can just stand there. You are too close. It's not good to him. He's not talking to you, he's talking to him. I'm scared. Don't touch him. Don't just stand there. Let him talk. Let him talk. No, you let him talk.
Right, so thank you so much. In case you've joined us, this is the first story we are starting with on the analysis. Let's begin from here. PK, I will start with you, then Ambassador comes in. I should make mention that speech analyst will be joining us perhaps soon, of course, as the program proceeds. PK, let's begin from there. Brad Mundubile, a week ago, he was actually arrested by the Zambia police at Ibex Police, and of course on Friday last week, again, he was summoned by the ACC to go and answer to some allegations leveled against him. What do you make of this story?
What I make of this story, IP, first of all, we must admit that Brian Mundubile is one of the opposition figures that is rising steadily in terms of popularity and influence. And quite a number of people are looking at him as one of the potential figures that could upset the UPND tables on the 13th of August this year as we go to elections. Therefore, when you see that he's trying to travel out of the country and he's stopped at the airport, detained, and later on arrested for crimes that he may have committed. Of course, they say in Bemba, Mulanduta Uvola.
Yeah.
But it's also the build-up to some things that begin to raise questions.
The timing.
The timing. If this case, and I've started from when he was stopped from traveling, if that case was committed in 2023 or 2022, why now?
Yeah.
Then secondly, the issue of road contracts dates back to 2014 based on the information we got from 2014 to 2020.
Yeah.
This is 2026. So he did the roads and perhaps got partial payment, and no one raised an alarm at the quality of work and at the fact that whether or not he had delivered or had failed to deliver. No one took interest over the past years until when someone says, I'm going to stand for the office of president. That is when you want to investigate him. So while it is that it is a requirement for anyone who wants to aspire to that office to have a clean public record, it is also important that the due process of the law is followed. Because if Brian Mundubile, for instance, never delivered on the road contracts, they should have done it well before he declared his interest to stand. But the very fact that they're doing it so close to nominations, and this is someone who has declared presidential ambitions, it raises a lot of questions. It raises questions because the same Anti-Corruption Commission or the Drug Enforcement Commission have not investigated the ZAMSA containers of medicine. Why? Is it because it's people who are within the corridors of power who could be implicated? So are you going to use law enforcement agencies to fix your perceived enemies? If you want to do this and hide behind the law, do it across the board. Tell us what happened to the gold scandal at the airport. Tell us where that plane came from. Tell us who cleared it to land where it landed. Tell us what has happened to that gold and the money and the guns that were on that plane. Tell us. The nation is interested to know. If you want to investigate what happened to the containers of medicine, how did they find themselves at a private warehouse? So if you look away from all of these things and then you want to investigate Brian Mundubile because he has said he's going to run for president, then there's a problem there. But we are not saying Brian Mundubile should not answer to, if he took money, which is our public money, and he wants to run for office, I would have a problem with him if he'd never delivered. In any case, talking about this, let's broadly speak and spread it to everyone who wants to stand. Ambassador, he lived in Germany, he lived in, where else?
Sweden,
Austria,
Poland,
in those countries,
Hungary.
Ambassador. When a politician is running for office or is in office, and a matter of some inquiry of some sort is opened against that individual, they resign on their own. Not because they are guilty, but because they have to protect their name. Therefore, while it is that we welcome this inquiry into whether or not Mr. Bran Mundubile, the member of Mporokoso, member of parliament from Mporokoso, whether or not he delivered, as far as we know, the law says everyone is innocent until proven guilty. But it is a dent on his image that these matters are coming just when we are about to enter into an election phase. And we would like to think that it's now also incumbent upon himself to seize this opportunity to clear
himself.
Yeah. Okay?
Correct.
He needs to clear himself so that when we are going to vote on that day, we should be voting with a clear conscience.
Right.
But is he also perhaps going to say, look, I'm very educated, I understand what these things are all about. Maybe because I am being framed for the sake of my integrity, I'm not going to run. But if he does that, will he be satisfying the intention of those who have orchestrated all of these things? So it's a very interesting turn of events, and we keep watching and we'll be following these things closely until we come to a place where we now say, that is why.
Correct. All right, interesting, PK. For now, let's just have more highlights. As you know, that a lot happened in the CBD of Lusaka last week, and there was quite a mob of people that went to offer solidarity to Bran Mundubile. And of course, amidst all that, at some point, others were even apprehended. And we are talking about the former ZAMS DG in Mr. Nyanzulu, who was actually among the victims of that. Just some highlights of what transpired.
He has arrived.
He has just arrived at the Anti-Corruption Commission where he is appearing together with him. We will try and get a word from him. Mr. President, you are welcome to Diamond TV News. On the go, just tell us you're scheduled to appear before the FCC to answer this question regarding what exactly you are aware.
We are not aware what you're going to find out. We got a call out to our lawyers to report to the SEC this morning. So we've come here about 10 hours now. We are yet to know why I'm here.
How can you describe the recent happenings? A week ago, you were arrested and charged to spend the night at the police station, and now this summoning. How can you describe this happening?
Well, I want to leave it up to the people to judge. I really want to leave it up to the Zambian people to judge. As you know, we are in an election year. We are going for elections this year in August, and obviously these things have started happening. I will leave it up to the people to judge.
Where do you sympathize that may be panicking right now?
No, all I can say to our supporters is that remain calm. I am good. I'm in good spirits. I've come here to answer all the questions that they may want to get from me. I have nothing to hide and I have nothing to fear. So that's why I'm here. Thank you. Thank you.
Now,
Have a good day.
Mr. President,
Thank you.
just a final question. Can it be an indication or maybe a response to what you said, even if they were to use a lens, they can't find anything in you?
Maybe this is one of the lenses they're trying to use.
Honorable Mundubile,
Yes, sir.
told the 5 lawyers, 2 sympathizers. So please show us those that are sympathizing.
Hi, Mr. Zambo. Hey, Chris, how are you?
So the people that are representing the
They are already here. Okay. So, he's one of them? One of them?
so the lawyers, please go ahead to the
You don't want anyone to sympathize with me?
count myself. Not trust me. Yeah. So,
Excuse me? Just here.
All right, thank you so much, Director, for those clips. Let's proceed. Now we have Ambassador Anthony Mkwita to dive into what transpired last week at the ACC. But I should make mention that the man we've been waiting for, the man you've been anticipating to see on the program is finally here in Comrade Mike Sichula, speech analyst. Welcome and good evening to you.
Thank you very much, IP, and good evening to our dear viewers. I'm sure they have been wondering whether I was going to make it, but I'm here by the grace of God. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I'll bring it now to you, Ambassador. Based on what PK has submitted of what transpired in a matter of Brian Mundubile having been summoned by the ACC and also what came out. The case is, you know, an old case, but like PK has said, Umulandu Tawola, you know, but also PK brings out the aspect, very profound statement that also the timing is very much important on how these matters are prosecuted or rather, you know, investigated. Where are we?
I think where we are, IP, is Honorable Brian Mundubile, the Member of Parliament for Prokoso, basically blew out of the water when there was a poll that came out on KBN TV that he was a front runner out of the many that are seeking an election as president on 13th August 2026. After that, there seems to have been a special attention and glow on his head than there had been before. We saw statements being issued, which I thought should have been interrogated a little bit more. For instance, before he was arrested, before he was not first arrested, but before he was detained at the international airport of Lusaka for 4 hours, and his 3 mobile phones were taken away from him, and his passport was taken away. Eventually, he was taken to Ibex Hill police station for 5 hours before he was thrown into police detention overnight without being charged, which I understand, and I'm not a lawyer, but that it could be illegal in a democratic country like ours. There seems to have been a special attention on him. And then barely a week after that, we're talking March 19 at the international airport. Then I think on the 27th, March 17th, I think, if my days serve me right. Then later on the 19th, again, Honorable Brian Mundubile is now summoned to appear before the Anti-Corruption Commission, the body that looks at graft in Zambia. And this time they are talking to him about some road construction contracts which occurred way back in 2015. I'm not very good at mathematics, but from what I understand, that could be about 11 years ago. So I am just beginning to wonder, is there a certain set of rules that are set for those that are aspiring for office, especially if they belong to the opposition? And is there a certain set of rules that are, appropriated to those that are close to the government? The reason I am saying this is because take the FIC report, for instance. You can finish it properly for me via IP because I know you are more intelligent than I am. FIC is Financial Intelligence what?
Center.
FIC is Financial Intelligence Center. In the last 4 years, according to their calculations, there has been almost $10 billion that has illicitly walked out of Zambia. And they have stated clearly in their report that most of these transactions are either directly related to government officials under President Hakainde Hichilema or friends of government officials. And yet, maybe you have heard, but I have not heard of any top government official or any friend of a top government official that has been arrested, that has been quizzed by the Anti-Corruption Commission that you could be part of the almost 10 billion US dollars. And yet, the authorities led by the Anti-Corruption Commission can go back into time. Nostalgia, you call it. I don't know what I would call it, but it's the same thing I was saying. A different set of rules, different strokes, different forks. They can go back 11 years to look at contracts which we have seen paperwork. Brian Mundubile says, here is a letter from the town clerk for Kasama. They inspected the works and said, pay the man. Here is a letter from the provincial engineer from Western Province. They inspected the works and they said, the works are good, let him go. Here is the letter from the provincial engineer for Northern Province on the road on Imporokoso. They inspected the works and they said, go ahead and pay. They haven't even paid. But we have just the last 3-4 years where the FIC has said the people who are connected to the almost $10 billion. Remember, this is happening at a time that we are moving around with a begging bowl to the International Monetary Fund that we need $1.3 billion. So they keep giving us in tranches. Today they give you dribs and drabs, you know, like $100-300 million a year. But we have sent out more than almost $10 billion. So let me summarize by saying, in my limited knowledge and view of understanding things, I think something is amiss. How come FIC says almost $10 billion has walked in 4 years, but nothing has been done about it? But somebody who allegedly, and I will borrow the words of the pastor here, if Honorable Brian Mundubile has committed a crime like Umulanduta from 10 years ago, from 2015 to now, yes, investigate him. But at the same time, you should investigate the FIC report, which stretches only 3.5 years ago. We haven't even clocked 4 years. So why is there a special set of rules for those that have been mentioned in the FIC report and a special set of rules for Brian Mundubile? Does this mean you are trying to build up a case so that Brian Mundubile does not find himself on the ballot paper on August 13, 2026? Tell us.
Right, let's hear from Comrade Mike Sichula. What is your take, your bite over this story?
I think, to me, I want to look at it from two fronts. To ride again on what Ambassador has alluded to in terms of the two summoning, one by the Zambia police at Twin Palm Police Station, and the latest one at the Anti-Corruption Commission in the CBD. To me, I want to look at it from this point of view. Is it that the governing party, the UPND, they want to test the popularity of Mr. Mundubile? Here is why. When Mr. Mundubile was taken away from KK International Airport and they brought him to Twin Palm Police Station, you saw that within the shortest period of time, there were a lot of supporters that came to give solidarity to him. And these supporters did not only include cadres, they included high-profile people that went to be with him. There were lawyers there, there were political leaders with him. They went to be with him, and some of them stayed with Mr. Mundubile for overnight until he was released the following morning. The same case happened when he was summoned at the Anti-Corruption Commission. You saw a crowd of people from all walks of life. I saw in some of the videos women going about their businesses, but they joined in to give this thing to what I can call Chimwela to Mr. Mundubile. So, is it that the governing party, the UPND, because Mr. Mundubile is competing against the UPND under the Tonse Alliance. Is it that it is a scheme by the government to see, I mean by the UPND to see whether Mr. Mundubile can sustain the support he got at Twin Palm? But again, we have seen it that he can sustain it and even more. Because what we saw in the CBD that day, I can liken it to the time when Mr. Winter Kavimba was fired as SG of the PF. You saw the crowds of people that were chanting slogans against him and whatever they were doing in the CBD. It was almost the same. Then secondly, is it that the governing party wants to test the mental strength of Mr. Mundubile? Because you know, these cases, these cases of you being summoned by the police, they have got a certain element that they take away from your spirit. Imagine IP here, you've been going about your business, interviewing us, directing everything within the KBN station, then all of a sudden there's a call out from the police. It will drain you somehow. It can even affect your input here at KBN. So is it that the governing party wants to test the strength of Mr. Mundubile, where he'll be thinking about how he's going to defend himself if the case is taken to court, then also how he's going to sell himself to the Zambian people ahead of the August 13th general election. That's how I want to look at it. I don't want to talk about what the ambassador has spoken about to say, why are you coming for him after 11 years?
Right. Because
it is the same ACC that was there 11 years ago that did not see anything wrong with what the current ACC has seen that there was an illegality or a criminal issue could have happened. So Zambian people have to judge by themselves.
Right. I'll try and give each one of you a minute to summarize on this, a minute or less. But however, I want to combine what PK has mentioned. PK, you brought out a story to deal with the airport saga. PK brought out the issue to deal with the medicines, which were found in a private property. Containers, exactly. Now, I'll add on more context to that. Gentlemen, we are talking about 1.5 billion kwacha, a very huge amount of money. So, now my question is, do you think the UPND, when they came into power, they didn't see this as a priority to follow it up and prosecute Brian Mundubile? Because not a small amount of money. No. It's a lot of money involved in there. Look, I want to add on again with the question Speaker is asking. There is an issue of the missing, is it gold, Sujilite in Ikasama, in Wapula?
The vans, the trucks,
you understand,
the containers
of Sujilite,
they have disappeared.
Yes. So the question is, what happened to all these things? And
these are in the last 2 years.
Because if you remember again, gentlemen, just to add on, when the UPND formed government in 2021, 2022 around somewhere there, they formed up an audit, team to audit all the works which were done by in the road construction and everything like that. How possible that this project was missed out from there? Let's add our thoughts together with the viewers out there, and pick the sense and leave out the much nonsense I might have said. How possible is that?
I mean, look, IP, this is why we are here. First of all, saying, what we expect of public service is not people to go into government and start looting.
Yes.
That is not what we expect. And that if that's happening under the UPND, they will also face the law at the right time. Some of the people that have been locked up, it is because we are told.
Yeah.
If you locked up Malanji and you had time to prosecute Malanji, if you locked up Bowman, you had time
on corruption issues,
corruption-related issues. Why did you leave out Brian Mundubile?
You understand?
Was he an angel at that time? Or was there a special arrangement between him and the UPND that you shouldn't run for office, maybe we'll be quiet on your case. And if you run, we will visit your cases. Because I don't understand how you can prosecute Bowman, you can prosecute Malanji, and
given Lubinda, all those.
All others. Okay? And you leave out Brian Mundubile, which is why even within their circles, within PF, they started talking. We've been hearing rumors of road contracts.
Yes.
The question is, why were they quiet? Was there a special treaty between Brian and the UPND? Has any trust or deal been broken that now they should go for him? But the timing, again, is what is an issue. And I must insist here, we don't hate anybody. We love Brian, we love those who are serving in government today, but if there is an issue and it's an issue of public interest, we'll talk about it. And I will insist, as you have said, IP, that 1.5 billion is a huge amount. If you are given a contract as a Zambian entrepreneur, please deliver. Deliver to the expectations of the ZPP. Is it ZPPA?
Yes.
Okay? Deliver to the expectation of RDA so that there is the avoidance of all of these things. But in an event that Mr. Brian Mundubile, you got the money, your company was awarded and you never delivered, honestly, then you have no business running for the office of president. Absolutely. Because you see, when you are aspiring to lead a nation, you need to lead a nation with a clean shirt as white as ambassadors. And he himself, when he was released at Ibex, he said, my hands are clean.
In fact, he's used
squeaky clean. Okay? So, if your hands are squeaky clean, take this as an opportunity to go and vindicate yourself. In fact, don't wait for the court reports. Publish your audited accounts. Let Zambians see for themselves that indeed this is political prosecution. But if you know at the back of your mind that you are owing us, the public, we would like to advise you, well, maybe it's my personal opinion, that you don't have to run for office if there is a question on your ability to handle public resources. It takes away from the credibility that is expected of the head of state. It's the same thing when Mr. Hakainde was going for office. People were raising questions about privatization and his role that he played in the privatization. And questions have continued to linger. Today, when he's in power 5 years down the line, people are saying, the UPND is more focused on promoting foreign interests. That's what people are saying. So there was already that issue about how people perceived him, but they had to try him. But I think he has not really acquitted himself in the opinion, what do you call it? Court of public opinion. Because we keep hearing the opposition figures, members of the opposition saying, is not treating local investors well as much as he's giving foreign investors the opportunities. So it is those things that Mr. Mundubile and any other running for office should learn from. If you have any question about your ability to safeguard public resource, we could say this about President Hakainde Hichilema, we must say it about Mr. Brian Mundubile as well. You need public confidence in your leadership if they're going to vote for you.
Right. Comrade Mike Sichula, can you use your 1 minute as you conclude on this topic quickly?
I think this is what has become a custom to Zambian politics. Whenever someone seems to be having an advantage or is a threat to the party in government, there's always political victimization in terms of what they thought he might have done wrong, and they want to bring such a person before the investigative wings of government. But I think to me, we have been, we are having the 7th president of Zambia. I think we need to, our style of politics needs to change, where the governing party should not begin to use state institutions to settle political scores. Because what the Anti-Corruption Commission and other law investigative agencies are doing, basically they are just being used by the governing party to settle political scores. I'm not saying if there's really some gray areas, then such a person who is accused should not be investigated. Why I'm saying this is that because if other persons of Leonard Stotela, Bowman Lusambo, Nixon Chilangwa, as well as Joseph Malanji have gone in jail because there were cases that they were found to have committed whilst in government. Why was the case involving 1.5 billion did not get the attention of the UPND in the last
5 years or 4 years?
Then just because Mr. Mundubile has been seen to be a political threat to Mr. Hichilema, then Mr. Hichilema now begins to use state institutions to say, let's slow down the momentum of Mr. Mundubile. Let's see if he's going to continue if we squeeze him. Because what I can tell our viewers, certainly if Mr. Mundubile is not going to be arrested in some cases even before the elections, then Mr. Mundubile will be a very lucky politician, because with the way things are going, it's likely that Mr. Mundubile may be thrown in police cell more for a week, because what he spent that time, it was just less than a day. But with how things are going, Mr. Mundubile, he has to, like PK said, he has to even maybe to win public confidence. Let him display other information that he knows about his case, to say, this case that they have called me for, look at the documentations that I got from the same government regarding the road contracts they are talking about. And one thing, one thing that I want to inform our viewers is that some of the road projects, some of our viewers and people that look at, believe how a road should be, some of them, they are thinking some of the roads Mr. Mundubile was given were supposed to be done into bituminous standard. Some of them, it's not like that. It's where you're just going to do the feeder roads, the gravel. So you may go to a place where Mr. Mundubile was given to say, can you make this feeder road to be in proper standard? So when you go there with your camera today, you're going to say, look what Mr. Mundubile did. This is the road. So people are thinking, some of the roads, people are thinking they're supposed to be the black standard that we see in town. Some of them are not in that way.
When you listen to the spokesperson to Brian Mundubile in that video, Ambassador, if at all you attentively paid listen to that, he tells us that there was a time at which the minister and then or local government, Gary Nkombo, went in parliament to more like give a statement on some of the companies which were, which performed to people according to government expectation. So what has happened today? What has changed?
That's
from that clearance.
Actually, State Counsel George Chisanga, in reference to the video that you were talking about, cited a statement that was made by then the Minister of Local Government, Honorable Gary Nkombo, and the exact date is actually 17th January 2025. So somebody had asked for clarification over the matters of two companies that are associated to Honorable Mundubile. One is Beroton Trust and the other one is called Omni or Omni, depending on where you're coming from again. Potatoes, tomatoes, Anthony, Anton. But the bottom line is Honorable Gary Nkombo had said, we are very happy and proud with some works that have been done by these two companies. And he was making reference to one of the roads that had been given, that was in Teji Southern Province. And again, like the speech analyst said, not all of these roads were being started from the beginning to the end. Some of them you were just supposed to go and patch them up. You were going to make sure that this broken patch is mended. And another interesting part that many Zambians do not understand, because every time I want to talk about an issue, I want to make sure that I understand a little bit more. So I will talk to people that are either close to the case or are directly, involved with the case. And one thing I have found out, and Mr. Brian Mundubile may refute or agree, is the fact that they actually haven't even paid him the entire 1.5 billion kwacha. They prepaid a part of it. And the town clerk, the provincial engineer said you should pay them everything. He hasn't even been paid. The government actually owes him money.
It reminds me of the story I did, gentlemen, the FTJ Chilwa University.
Indeed.
I took, I think, 2 weeks going in the bush investigating that story.
That was one of the best investigative stories I've ever
And
seen.
what came out from there, it was that the government actually was owing the contractor.
Indeed.
It was the opposite.
Yes.
The government were accusing the contractor, no, they shared the money. And then when it went on the ground, what was discovered that actually the contractor was being owed by the government.
It's the same kind of story. In fact, somebody wrote on a page I saw, quite interesting, said, you children, when your fathers are dead and you're careful, whose doors you go knocking on at all, you owe dad, you don't even know. Then the pastor will say, actually your dad owes me. And now that you've insisted, can you please pay back because you are the next of kin.
Wow.
So the reality actually is that the government of the Republic of Zambia owes Brother Mundubile a lot of money. But then, it's cutting the story short, because you say 1 minute.
Yeah.
What I would like to say is, Honorable Mundubile, the members say, oh, I ingira mumushi to Tom Fuenswanswa. You have gotten into this jungle. It's up to you now. I heard PK saying that in our country, everybody is innocent until they are proven guilty, but I have my doubts on that. Sometimes I think everybody is guilty until they are proven innocent. So my advice to you is that you should come up with everything, as much paperwork that you have, as much documentation that you have, and show the media that that statement I made at IBEX, that I come to this table seeking justice with clean hands, and that he who comes
to equity,
to equity
must come with clean hands. Correct.
Just prove it. Don't wait
for the court.
Don't wait for the court. Show everything that you have.
Yeah.
Because if you are going to wait for the court, it will be too late. In 2 months' time, Parliament will be dissolved. Is it even 2 months' time? Or 1 month's time?
1 month time.
In a month's time, Parliament will be dissolved. And you are aspiring to be a president. And this could slow you down terribly.
Right.
If I were you, I would put on my running shoes and I would say, moving quickly and come up with now you say, yes. Because now it's all about me to cross over.
Thank you.
So that's
Thank you so much.
1 minute.
All right.
IP that brother BM8, get your paperwork together, get your legal team together, and get your act together, and show them that there is 1.5 billion. Yes, I agree, but they actually didn't even pay me. And show them the letters of all these top government officials that said you did the job according to the standards, you delivered, but you haven't been paid. You know, the thing is about optics. To use what the pastor usually uses, looking at political lenses. So you don't want to lose this political lens or this political one. You have to create your own narrative. You have to show the paperwork.
Right.
Show me the money, as they say in journalism. And I'll end there. I think I only went on by an extra 2 seconds.
You spoke for 3 minutes.
Oh.
Right, that's Ambassador there. All right, we'll leave the story and we'll keep on following up as it is, a developing story, as it were. But of course, let's look at the affairs happening in the opposition in Zambia. We'll look at the newly elected Zambia We Want party president in Honorable Makebi Simbao. its Secretary General, Honorable Muhabi Lungu, as well as other leaders who have been kicked out of the party. Quite dramatic. The opposition in Zambia is embroiled into this, I know, a confusion. I don't know what spell, what demon has entered the opposition landscape in Zambia. Let's find out. Mike Sichula, more drama is happening. The Zambia we want is in trouble. Muhabi Lungu has been expelled, and also the party president, as well as the Madam Ponga as well. They have been fired. Yes. What's the issue here?
Quite a sad state of affairs when most Zambians are hoping that the opposition are going to unite when it's actually not possible, considering that when you look at the church, I'll speak to the church for instance, we all pray to one God, but there are different churches.
Correct.
So it's the same with opposition political parties.
Right.
Their goal is to go into state house, but we expect them to be united. I don't think politicians are going to be united, even if the goal is one, to get into state house. So now, getting to the Zambia we want. To me, it was a grouping that seemed to be doing things in an organized manner, and there were not a lot of squabbles. So this development has caught me unaware, and it is surprising that, for instance, Mr. Muhabi Lungu, who when you are speaking to him, he speaks so well to say we need to do things, Zambian politics in a different way. I thought that was what was being exhibited in the Zambia we want. But however, I think I've been caught unaware again, like I did say.
Correct.
It is, but the problem that, you know, these internal wrangles exist in all political parties. What matters is how the leaders of those political parties manage those wrangles so that they don't go out in the public. Because when they go out in the public, they send out a very negative message. People now begin to say, these leaders who are telling us to vote for them, but how do we vote for them when they cannot sort out their own internal wrangles internally so that they don't give a wrong picture, a wrong narrative to people to say they're actually not united, even if we want them to be united. So it is a very sad state of affairs to especially to the voters, because the voters are looking for who do we vote for if we don't want to vote we don't want to vote for Mr. Hakainde Hichilema to give him a second term. So when they look at the PF, trouble everywhere, confusion every week, there's the latest development. Now you look at the Zambia we want, something that looked to be stable, it looked to be, everything was going smoothly, boom, something has happened, the leaders have been expelled. It is not only, if you remember, you've spoken about Makebi Zulu. We also heard the other day on the Zambian Pact,
a Green Party leader,
expelled. Then you begin to ask yourself, sometimes, yes, you, especially for instance like the PF, you can clearly see that it is the works, there's an invisible hand from the governing party to destabilize the PF. But the Zambia we want, what foundation do they have on the ground that they can pose a threat to the governing party? You have to scratch and search here and there to find a real threat that they pose to the UPND. You can't find it just by looking. So maybe the people that have expelled the three leaders we've spoken about, maybe have got a better explanation that can convince myself as well as many Zambians out there who are hoping that political confusion is going to be healed as we head into the Easter.
Is there a possibility that people have been bought maybe within the Zambia we want to host Muhabi Lungu, Madam Ponga, and the party president? How would you look at the script? Is there any of that possibility, PK, as we take up your 2 minutes from now?
I can't rule out anything in the Zambian political landscape. We know it too well. You recall that immediately after the 2021 elections, this script started as a test case in DP, Democratic Party, where Hari Kalava was president then. Something started there which we understand could have been politically sponsored and engineered by external forces. The idea was to kick out Hari completely and make sure that he's disoriented and not ready,
obliterated,
and not ready for the next elections. Cleverly, he navigated the process. Come 2026, Hari Kalabaya will be one of the front runners for this year's election. Yes, and then you had issues of the PF. Okay. The issue of the PF kicked in. Same script. Now, people were not taking it serious at the time. It has come to what it is today. PF has been split in how many factions? The Morgan Ingona and Chawinga, the Mao Sampa, the Given Lubinda, the Makebi, and now the brand Mundubile, because he also has carried some PF people. It all started from a well-scripted, politically engineered and sponsored from external forces. Everyone holds this view that what has been happening in the PF is politically engineered and sponsored from external forces. Then you talk about what has happened only yesterday in NDC, Savoy. Savoy, as NDC president, leading one faction, has been going around the country doing the primaries, the elections at districts and provincial level. Suddenly, from nowhere, you have a convention at a government facility called Long Acres Lodge, and they say it's a general assembly. General assembly from where?
Just
where? When did you hold your primaries to gather delegates who should come at the...
Less than 100 people.
Who sponsored them and where did they come from? So when...
Like the Mulungushi October 24 conference.
So when I hear this is what's happening in Zambia we want, I cannot rule out the fact that there are external forces, because the truth of the matter is most of these, they were invited by the same leaders who are being ousted, right? Muhabi and George Chulumand have been at the forefront of the Zambia we want. Okay. Of course, there were other people, Siamunene and all of those, who have moved away and they moved on. But they managed to hold the ship together. They steered it. They brought other opposition figures in there. State Council Sakuwa Scott Chalakateka from New Heritage Party and all of those. They had their convention.
Yeah, correct.
They elected their new office bearers. So I read this statement from Mr. Muhabi Lungu, and he says, this is not the Zambia we all wanted to build.
Indeed.
Such behavior was not what was envisioned at the initiation of this great endeavor only 2 years ago. In 2 years, they are already facing this. Their desire is to build the Zambia they want. But it's unfortunate that they gathered the leadership that exhibits treachery, a Zambia that they don't want. So where have they gone wrong? Is it true they made unilateral decisions without involving these ones? They have issued a statement saying, no, some of them are not part of us. But they are still holding positions. When did you replace them? With whom did you replace them? So it's a mess.
It's a mess indeed.
My last submission on this is this. Zambians, please do not make politics a means to your livelihood. What is happening is because some people cannot do anything outside of politics. They can't farm. They can't have a contract business. They can't do anything.
Work.
They would rather stab someone. Okay? Even now, Well, let me end here. But
better you end there.
Let me end here,
please.
But the reason why you can have members of parliament bribe to vote for Bill 7 is because they don't have morality. They can't survive outside the
politics.
The reason why you can have an MP was in PF, no, actually was in MMD, defects to PF, and now defects to UPND, is because all they know to survive is within politics. Now,
not that they are better leaders, no,
they are not better leaders.
They are just better bootlickers.
They are better bootlickers. They are actually becoming a political nuisance to our aspirations as a people,
the future generation.
And we need to call them out for who they are. If you don't have anything to do, go to the village. Go and start farming. Stop messing up the national leadership and parading yourselves as if you are leaders. You are actually a disgrace to a larger extent, because we want leaders of morality and integrity. Leaders who can say, I sense corruption here and I am going to resign on moral grounds. Those are the leaders we want. But today, if ambassador resigned because he senses corruption, he'll be called names that Amazimvela. One of the reasons why Hari Kalaba is not popular in some circles is just because he resigned citing corruption.
And he doesn't agree with the popular view.
You see, so we have built a culture of politics where integrity is frowned upon. Morality is frowned upon. But if you say, oh yes, let's do this. So, I mean, and I have a problem. When leaders would even stand on a podium to confess that I called him in the night and I called him in the night. What were you discussing in the night? What you can't discuss during the day? This is a culture of politics that we do not need in Zambia going forward.
Ambassador, the circus in the Zambia we want. The two comrades have talked about NDC. Sawo Imboyle, I think, is one kind of a leader who has been fought tooth and nail. You remember P.S. Akafumba, who is now a diplomat, after the DP confusion, we were covering the NDC, Savoy Imboyle fighting with the P.S. Akafumba. All those fiasco. At a time when the country thought that the confusion in NDC had ended, because Savoy Imboyle, I think she's been very consistent on that, on the trajectory of being an opposition leader, but also providing leadership in the NDC. From nowhere, another leader comes in and say, we have been elected as leaders. We've taken over NDC.
Briefly, because you said a minute.
Yes.
And my two brothers preceding have already spoken very eloquently and comprehensively on this. I would just like to draw a parallel with what happened recently in Tanzania. That woman president, Mrs. Samia Suluhu Hassan, who has been greatly condemned by the Southern African Development Commission, SADC, Community, and African Union. Unofficial results show that because of her acrimonious and fractious election, almost 2,000 or maybe even up to 3,000 people died. But before she even ran for that election, almost everybody had been eliminated from the ballot paper. So I am just wondering, as a student of politics and as somebody who just looks at things as they go in the region, is there what Pastor Kennedy Mambo mentioned here last week, that there is the architect, I don't know where he gets that wisdom, but he seems to have given us a blueprint and a direction that there could be some invisible hand of God or somebody much, much mightier than us here who could be controlling the events. Because let me go back to what we have already discussed. Brian Mundubile was a non-factor in politics from 2015 until he announced that he was becoming president and he got voted as Tonse Alliance member. Muhabi Lungu, George Chulumanda and Kapambwe Simbao were really basically nothing until they came up with that the Zambia we want. Fred Membe was practically nothing, but so and everybody you see who seems to have some traction in ensuring that we have a stronger opposition all of a sudden seems to have a sin on them. So I am just wondering, and I'm just spitballing here because I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm just spitballing, like, are we even going to have anybody on the ballot paper on August 13 apart from President Hakainde Hichilema? Is Fred Membe going to be on the ballot paper with that gun case that he faces in Mukushi? Is Brian Mundubile going to be on the ballot paper with this 1.5 billion which hasn't been paid for? Is, Harry Kalaba going to be on that ballot paper? Who is going to be on this ballot paper? I remember the days pre-2021 when my cousin, who would like to perambulate and synthesize, called what's his name, Cornelius Mwetwa. You say you can't say you have won a race when there was nobody who is running with you. Yeah. So is the book being
when your strongest competitor is not participating? And that's what happened in Tanzania, as you mentioned.
That's why I was trying to draw up that parallel. And then I also get worried when my friend and cousin, Cornelius Mwetwa, says we are going to change him in Galato, which we know in simple English simply means dribbling. And dribbling is a use of trickery, basically borrowed from soccer, that if you think I am going to the right, I will move around and go to the left. And perhaps if you think I'm going to score the ball using the leg, I will do like Maradona and use the hand of God. Now, we had a brother who went on television, Brother Cornelius Mwetwa, the chief government spokesperson, a very respected lawmaker, who said we are going to change the dribbling, meaning we are going to change the way we're going to trick you. And then a few days before that, he also mentioned that one of the leading presidential aspirants, Honorable Brian Mundubile, was going to get arrested. And alas, a few days later, the man got arrested, but he didn't get arrested once. He got arrested twice in less than a week. So, for the life of me, I'm just wondering that, I was looking at one of the clips which said that for us to have a strong democracy, we must have a strong opposition.
Right.
Are we going to have a strong opposition where Fred Membe is not on the ballot? Are we going to have a strong opposition where Makebi Zulu is not on the ballot? Are we going to have a strong opposition where Harry Kalaba is not on the ballot? Are we going to have a strong opposition and a democracy where Mundubile is not on the ballot? That is what keeps me awake. And this is only a month before we do the nominations. Who will guard the guards?
Right. Let's bring in the Makebi Zulu, who was temporarily stopped by the officers at the Kenneth County International Airport as he was about to fly out, and news I think went viral that Comrade Makebi Zulu had been blocked by the officers at the KKIA. Comrade.
Yeah, when I saw that news, somebody sent to me. Then I asked this person to say, what is the source? So I quickly went online, checked on prominent sites to see if that issue was trending. I tried to check on the Zambia airports. I couldn't see anything. Not until I got credible information to say yes, he was stopped, but then allowed to fly out to South Africa. So again, we ask a question to say, why is it that people who seem to want to challenge President Hakainde Hichilema are beginning to have these obstacles to whatever they want to do? Last week, I was on this platform, and I think even on my page, I did indicate to say, President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND, the entire UPND, including the likes of Nkombo, who has been dismissed from his position, vividly condemned the practice of the PF when they blocked Mr. Hichilema to use Chipata Airport. Everybody condemned such issues. And I don't understand why the UPND wants to use the same tactics that gave the PF used on them, and it gave them a competitive advantage against the PF. Because if truly Mr. Makebi Zulu was briefly stopped, I don't expect that to happen. Because Mr. Makebi Zulu, I want to understand, is using a private flight. So a private flight, I mean, they're in business. Or Makebi Zulu wants to travel out with Mr. Musukwa, they have bought tickets. So if they have bought tickets, meaning they have covered the space on that plane that is going to South Africa, then briefly you stop them. Because sometimes these stoppages, they have got a ripple effect on the business of the airliner. Because this airliner now, if maybe they want to be too hard on them, they may not look at, we can't wait for you, because the plane has to start off. We can't wait for you. Maybe Mr. Makebi Zulu may have missed a flight, and we don't know what he was going to do there. Maybe it was based on a strict appointment to say, come this time. If you don't come this time, then the business is going to be affected. So if the airline, maybe they had to say, okay, we have got a special case here, we want to resolve it. Imagine the other passengers on the plane. They also may be affected in one way or the other. But do we need politics to get into, to affect the private lives of other citizens who may be using the international airport? We don't need that. I did say last week again to say we have developed what the Zambia Blind Project, meaning we want to portray Zambia in a certain way to the outside world. But it seems the UPND administration and whoever is giving such orders does not love President Hakainde Hichilema. This is why the other day Mr. Hakainde Hichilema was saying sometimes he is pissed off by the slow pace of how certain decisions in government are done. However,
he mentioned that.
Yes.
Seriously, did he mention of how long it has taken to bury Edgar Lungu? Because that's going to be like 10 months on, is it April 5?
Yeah.
I think he should have mentioned that too.
So,
takes so long to bury a president in this country.
So, sometimes
it's a campaign issue.
Yes, sometimes a president, IP and our dear viewers, sometimes the president will portray a good image when he's speaking to the public, but when he's behind closed doors, maybe he is the one who says, when you see a politician coming to the airport, before they leave, get in touch with me. But I don't think we need such a system in this country.
Right. I'm trying to balance my clock, but wow, I don't know what I'm going to do. Let's try to squeeze in a bit of some stories. PK, I want us to quickly move. If you're going to comment on this story, it has to be within your 2 minutes. Yeah, but I will jump you to the story that is quite, important. That is the FDD, which also held its convention about 3 weeks ago. And of course, we've seen that the Registrar Societies, which is the body which is supposed to receive the minutes and also make changes, approve the changes, hasn't said anything regarding the FDD. That's one of the big stories we have this evening. PK, your comment around that?
Yes, before let me just add 1 cent comment on the issue of Makebi. I pick from his statement that he posted about, earlier today. He says, it is extremely absurd that we should be expected to inform the government whenever we wish to travel outside of the country. Is this a new law? Where has it even come from that the ambassador now, if you want to travel, I don't know which department in government you should be calling, whether it's the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, whether it's Ministry of Home Affairs, whether it's State House, whether it's Defense, that, I need to travel. Outside of the passport I have, I need special clearance. Indeed. Why? So I think it is really absurd, as Makebi has put it on his page.
And
that
Makebi is not known to use such language as
absurd.
Yeah, I saw it also. I was like, the brother was really touched.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I don't
So is it because he is the lawyer to the former president and is locked in a legal battle with or against government? Does that become a crime? Number 2, is it because he has been voted to be the PF Pamosi
Alliance
President. That's what they call it.
Yes.
Is it just Pamosi Alliance? I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
Is it because he's been voted as president that has become a crime that he shouldn't travel?
I think he's a president for the party.
Which party?
No, the declaration said the party.
Which party?
There was no name.
No name party.
Okay,
Yes.
let's just call it
Okay,
president
fine.
of a no-named party.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. if today I launch a party and I say I will not name it, and I've been elected as president,
And I'm going to run.
and
this
I want
party.
to travel, should I go and declare that I need to travel because now I'm the president of a
It's
no
lawlessness,
name party?
basically.
It's
I
lawless.
want to travel as a citizen. Since when did we get identified by parties or party affiliation to travel outside the country?
So we'll leave it at that. It's very interesting. Let me make a quick comment on the issue of the FDD.
Yeah.
First of all, I must say that every journalist, or should I say journalists, our currency is information.
Yeah.
We trade in information. We are like intelligence officers. The only difference is the means by which we collect this information.
Yes.
So when you talk about FDD, as a journalist, FDD is a party of interest.
Yeah.
Why is it a party of interest? Because that is a party that has been adopted as a special purpose vehicle by an alliance which has elected someone who is posing to be a challenge to the incumbent. Is proving to be a nightmare. Now, when I look at what Ambassador talked about, that the government has said we will have Mingalato. It started from the head of state. It has cascaded down to the chief government spokesperson, and every other person has adopted the Mingalato. In the news analysis, you don't hear a pronouncement and dismiss it. You need to begin to put one and one together. In the back of our minds, we have a pronouncement that there is Mingalato. Here we have seen someone who is running for office from an alliance, and they have said, as a party, we have amended our constitution, and we are going to allow for other parties from colleagues from the alliance, okay, to work with us. The practice of law in Zambia is that when you hold a convention, you need to lodge your resolutions with the Registrar of Society so that they can now do the amendments to your papers. Now, you look then at a document that was released by the Electoral Commission of Zambia in January this year, and it said in part, let me see if I can read some of that in part so that people must understand, and I'll be landing very soon.
Right.
It says this document, excuse me, let me remove my glasses. Please bear with me. It says the Electoral Commission of Zambia has noted an increasing number of political parties and alliances as well as factions. We wish to advise all political players that we will only accept nomination papers of presidential candidates whose names are duly registered with the Registrar of Societies. The only thing I need to confirm is, was this truly from the Electoral Commission of Zambia? But as the director will be showing this, when I look at it, it has a credible Electoral Commission of Zambia logo. The signature there is, it says signed by Chief Electoral Officer Brown Kasaro. I have nothing that should make me suspect.
Been refuted also. Today is March 29.
And I have nothing that should make me suspect that this is fake. I have nothing that will make me think this is.
When was it released?
31st January.
It's a long time.
It's just a reference.
I'm making a reference.
We are making a reference.
That if there is this circular from, and I'm hoping it's true. I'm hoping it's not fake. If it is true that now Mike Sichula as a presidential candidate, you must reflect at the Registrar of Society, because the ECZ will depend on the records of the Registrar of Society. And the FDD have just held their convention.
Yes.
And Brian Mundubile is standing
on the FDD
ticket because they have said that is their special purpose vehicle. My interest as a journalist is to find out, is his name reflecting there, or is it Fumubanda's name reflecting there, or is there still Edith Nawakwi, or is there still Kriston Tembo on the records, because that's the order of their presidents. Kriston Tembo, Nawakwi, Chifumubanda. I want to know as a journalist, because if this is indeed credible from ECZ, I want to know that before I start throwing my weight
and blowing up money, campaigning,
I must know that
is my name.
My name is there.
Correct.
And as a media house, when we get to hear these pieces of information,
we get concerned.
Yeah. Indeed. And the first thing that we do, we write a press query to the Ministry of
Information.
No, to the Ministry of
Home Affairs. Sorry.
Because that's where Registrar of Society sits. What we are hearing, is it true? A press query has never been responded to. Then you say, let's contact the party in question. You contact the president of the party, he also doesn't want to comment. Then you are wondering, are we safe? Are the Zambians safe? Are the institutions of governance safe?
Right.
And when a media house or a journalist is playing the watchdog role of society, this is not about FDD. This is to say,
it's about democracy.
Is Dr. Membe on the register as Socialist Party? Is KBF on the register as president of
Zambia first?
Zambia we want. Zambia, Zambia must prosper.
Correct.
Too many Zambians.
Yes. Is Muhabi Rungu as Secretary General at the, because Ambassador, you raised some poignant question here to say, are we seeing what we saw in Tanzania, that this one will not be on the ballot? So must we wait until they've been stopped for us to report? If we are able to ask questions that will make people to start going to the registrar and check their records, that in the next 1 month when they'll be filing in, everything must be in order. So
they've ticked all the boxes.
Correct.
And it is worrying for me as a journalist that the Ministry of Home Affairs has not responded. It is worrying that
you wrote them actually.
We wrote them.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, we did.
It is worrying that the party
doing a great job.
The party in question has also opted to remain silent. But what I am saying is Citizens First in order at the registrar? Is Socialist Party in order at the registrar?
These are questions.
These are questions because we do not want, when it is nomination time, then to be told, Ambassador, sorry,
you don't qualify.
Your papers are not in order. It is our role as journalists and as a media house to play what is called watchdog role in society.
Correct. I remember, if you gentlemen, I don't know if your memory serves you well as mine, you know, I remember discussing this topic, this statement from ECZ on this platform in January thereabout, if you remember.
Has it been refuted to be fake?
So this was a genuine document, yes.
It's genuine.
Yes, genuine. And in our submission here, I remember very well, we said it was basically illegal for the ECZ to issue such kind of a statement. Because first of all, let's admit that other political parties, they have got powers to adopt a person from nowhere.
Yeah.
You understand? There's no law in Zambia, let me say, which can compel a political party to say only the people sitting at the Registrar of Societies, they should be the ones to stand as the presidents.
There's no law.
No, there's no law.
Yes.
And when it comes to the alliances as well, political party alliances, these are more just like associations. For God's sake, these are basically associations. So why should you begin to regulate the affairs of these political party alliances? if you remember, we cited an example of the UPND, which was in an alliance with various political parties. We brought in Nevas Mumba, the Mutati, all those names were flashed on the screen. So basically, these questions, they are quite important, because we live in a world or a country where Mingalato seems to be making headlines almost every day. So I agree with PK. Ambassador, your summary over this?
My summary over this is just a word of advice as a rider to what Pastor Kennedy Mambo has said. It is time for you, my big brother, Dr. Fred Membe, to check this memo up with the Electoral Commission of Zambia. It is time for you, my brother, Honorable Brian Mundubile, to check this with whether it matches with the FDD aspirations as your special purpose vehicle. It is time for you, Brother Hari Kalaba, Brother Muhabi Lungu, and everybody else. And the list is quite long at the moment. But the earlier that you get clarity on this matter, the better.
And because, avoid Mingalato.
Avoid the Mingalato. Because we've been warned of Mingalato. The head of state himself has repeated this. In fact, he has gotten it into our local vocabulary. We used to see it as something that was underhand, like the underbelly, you know, like the gutter. But now it has found itself into local normal parlance that Mingalato is supposed to be.
Part of politics.
Part of politics. When it is wrong, it's supposed to be dirty. It's the scum. We shouldn't even be putting it anywhere close to the presidency. And then we saw it come close to people like the chief government spokesperson actually bragging and boasting, braggadocious, that we're going to do in Mingalato. Meaning, whatever we have done, if it was wrong, if we dribbled you, we're going to double that. So my advice is, under a minute that our host with the most has given, is please be careful. We want, in the interest of democracy, to have as many people on the ballot paper. We don't know whether you opposition leaders are going to unite or not. That's not our issue right now. Correct. It is up to you. You are elders. You are elders. You will find out what is right for you. You have been around much longer than all of us here. But just beware of Imingalato. Beware of Imingalato. Beware of dribbling. Do you want to be dribbled and be blamed for the rest of your political lives or even personal lives? Or are you going to try and find out what this really means so that we can have at least as many of you, if we can't have 2 of you, on the ballot or not? Because I sense that something seems to be rotten in the state of Denmark here. I see Tanzania happening, I could be wrong.
Where you
Trump would say, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
you
I'm
just
right,
want to compete with the non-entities,
yes,
for example.
And just to use the Cornelius's,
correct.
Was, at least there we knew where we stood. It was a one-party state, and there was only supposed to be
oh yeah,
Kaunda Punch.
It was in the constitution.
With a couple of frogs,
one-party state,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So let's just make sure that we get the groove right. So that we can return, because there has been, I am sure, I am not speaking for myself, but PK, Yasichula, and our host, when you hear that the State Department have said that the State Department, this is a very, influential department in the U.S. government that looks at how other countries are working. And we are saying the U.S. because it's the largest world power. Right. So they have leverage on how some things go, even if some could be wrong.
By the way,
the second one, yes, please.
By the way, IP, Ambassador and IP and speech analysts and our viewers, as we speak, there is an EU delegation pre-election.
A pre-election
assessment delegation in country. Most of these things that are happening, arresting of Brian Mundubile, stopping of Makebi, the Mingalato we're discussing, they are gathering all of this information to check whether indeed the election coming up will be credible or not. So they are already in the country as we speak.
That's great, because what usually happens, from my history of being a journalist also and as an analyst, the report they give after the elections is basically based on the pre-work that has been done. When did you arrest Brian Mundubile? When did you stop Makebi Zulu? When did you stop this rally? For instance, one of the biggest issues I know Amnesty International, State Department, Human Rights Commission, Human Rights Watch have been looking at is the fact that the opposition have not been allowed to
have rallies.
The fact that the opposition in Zambia have not been allowed to have rallies in 4 years. The fact that the opposition in Zambia have not been allowed.
Are you starting or you're concluding?
I am concluding. The opposition in Zambia have not been allowed.
The fact that the Public Order Act is still on the books. When we were promised, that it will be removed.
The fact that now we have cyber laws.
When we were promised,
said that there are enough laws to take care of that. And the fact that now the police have to ask you where you are going before you fly out.
Immigration, you mean?
Immigration. And the last one.
The
last one. Absolutely last. The fact that when Miles Sampa held an illegal convention.
The court says it was legal.
It was legal. And the fact that
so hold on. So it's like a thief going to the police. Appearing before the court of law. No. Yes. Your honor or my lord, please forgive me. I stole. Or I killed someone. And then
legalize my theft.
And then the judge or the magistrate said, "No,
you killed that one legally."
Extrajudicial.
Zambia challenges.
Absolutely last one now. And now there is another one where they say, can you give back the party? We've made a judgment. And then the what's his name? The Registrar of Society says, no, now I am seeking an opinion from the Attorney General. But this same Registrar of Societies did not seek
to amend the records when Mao Sampa held an illegal. Oh, by the way, there was a recent one.
Yes.
The Peter Chanda.
Yes.
Party. Which one is it?
NCP.
That 2, 3, 4 members of the executive can sit and say, we are firing the president. Then the following day they come to the press and make an announcement. We have amended the records.
But for the other one,
only in Zambia. In fact, only under the UPND.
Someone would have said, Zambia to Savannah. End of quote. Let's deal with the aspect of fuel shortage in the country. Comrade Mike Sichula, quickly. We've seen that there's quite some forms of tension building up now. What's going on?
I think on Saturday, I spent most of the time, even when I was working, interacting with my social media followers, and I was using a phrase of saying lack of leadership. If you remember, the UPND, whenever the PF complained to say what is happening, especially Mr. Chimbagambo would come and say what is happening is global, the UPND would respond and react to say it is lack of leadership. Yes. This is why the price of fuel is going up, even if in the Middle East there's a crisis. Today, the same issue has happened to the UPND in the Middle East as we speak. There's a crisis that has affected not only Zambia, which is miles away from the conflict between Israel, USA, and Iran, but that has had an effect on Zambia. Now, the issue of the fuel crisis, a number of Zambians, including the manufacturing sector, have repeatedly called on the UPND administration to say, can you reverse this monthly review of prices of fuel to at least a quarterly system, because a quarterly system will enable energy consumers to plan effectively. And the UPND has failed. They have refused. In the Ministry of Energy, we have seen permanent secretaries moved, appointed, moved.
Others fired.
But the complaint of many players has remained to say this monthly review system is affecting the wheels of commerce because people are not able to plan. Before the current crisis that we have in terms of fuel, diesel shortage in this country, President Hakainde Hichilema held a meeting with energy player who included oil marketing companies, among others. And in that meeting, I didn't watch the entire discussion that the president held, but what came out in public media was that the president was warning of sabotage, to say whoever is going to hold fuel, we're going to arrest. What we did not see is that did the oil marketing companies reiterate their position to the government to say, can you reverse this 1 month to at least a quarterly system? That has been their major complaint. To me, the latest statement that came out from State House through Mr. Hamasaka to say President Hakainde Hichilema has called for investigations over the current shortage, which they think there's it is artificial because oil marketing companies are holding fuel. You expect them to do that because the current purchase price of fuel on the global market has increased, and these are private players. They want to make a profit from whatever they are doing. Because why I'm saying this is because on blogs that are aligned to the UPND, they have published negative comments against certain oil marketing companies, including serving stations. So this one who held a meeting with Brian Mundubile, this one spoke to Kalaba, and when you go to their filling stations, fuel is not there. That is negative because it is affecting businesses. You never know how Zambians can react to certain comments which are not even founded. So to me, if the president could hold a meeting with oil marketing companies, and these oil marketing companies, they listen to him, but when they come out of that State House, that meeting at State House, something of the contrary happens. It means the president has not inspired the owners of these oil marketing companies. This is why we are seeing the crisis going from what it is. And to me, IP and our dear viewers, this fuel crisis is looking okay because it is affecting diesel. But the moment even petrol consumers will be affected, this crisis is going to be worse than what we have seen in the last couple of days. Because, again, I'll end by saying it is lack of leadership. If the UPND had the thought or the foresight, from the 40 million that they have been talking about has been added to CDF, they should have built other fuel reserves, which they have not done any fuel reserves. What the fuel reserves that they are commissioning and checking, they were done by the previous administrations. I will not mention the PF because according to the PF, the UPND, the PF did not do anything. So I'll just say the previous administrations. But has the UPND done any fuel reserves in this country? They have not done any in the last 4 years. So it is because of lack of leadership.
Wow. All right, let's quickly move. I'll give a minute to the two gentlemen remaining. Ambassador, rather PK, you look at, I think, was it last week or the other week, we talked about the affairs in the UPND and the demands for the General Assembly, as it were, which is popularly known as a convention. And we did see Mr. Longwe taking the UPND to court, demanding for a general conference, which has now finally been set up that they will hold a general conference the next. What's laughable, gentlemen?
I actually personally feel that this team here partially contributed to pushing the ruling party to hold a convention, or maybe we're giving each other too much credit. I saw that there was an escalation after we spoke because we've got quite a wide, followership. And they were all of a sudden, if you're speaking about the convention, then you hired goons or hired guns. But that is democracy. And what I'm just happy about is that there seems to be this superstar called Longwe. I don't know, where has he been all these days?
He's a member of the UPND, although they are saying they don't know him.
That's all right.
Usual.
Look, IP, even if they don't know him, for as long as he's sticking to the law and he's calling them back to order, that is good enough. I mean, look, the UPND under this issue of General Convention or General Assembly.
But it's an assembly.
The terminology doesn't matter.
We cannot get lost in semantics. As you know, Max Mue wanted to confuse journalists. As you write, comrades, let's contextualize. We do not call it a convention. In UPND, we call it a general conference.
But do you do an election?
And he said it can also be deferred. But their constitution says every after 5 years. The last one they held was on the 14th of February 2021. A very elaborate news report said they were the first opposition to lead the way in the run-up to the elections. And Honorable Cornelius Mwetwa, at the time spokesperson, which he still is, in opposition, and he said, we are going to hold the convention as per constitutional requirement. It is mandatory. It has not changed to be mandatory because the UPND is in power. It is still mandatory. Article 60 and also your own constitution as UPND requires that you should hold. So this is Mingalato gone bad. Okay, because one of them had to sue them. If it was anyone from outside, they would have said sponsored. Like the way we analyze here, they call us sponsored. Please send us some more sponsors. We need them.
Give free consultants.
Because we give free consultants here. Okay, so in all honesty, it is very important and commendable that finally, under pressure and under duress, the UPND has announced their own dates on the 15th of April, I would like to believe. That's when they are going to. And in between now and then, they will be holding elective primaries at district, provincial, so that those are going to be the delegates to the General Assembly. Max Moe, how are you feeling now? As you contextualize.
So meaning that Honorable Nkombo was right when he
was very right
when he said that we need to start with primaries and then from there.
That's been their
Honorable Nkombo was spot on. It's a pity that he has been fired as chairman for elections at a very critical time. All right. So, but he's going to be a major player and decider in the next few months running to the election. I will not be surprised, but this politics being what it is, he might just announce a surprise move. You know, but it shouldn't be surprising. He has pledged allegiance to the president
all along.
He has been very consistent. Although some blogs have called him they said at one not treachery person, but there's something like that. One down and 8 more to go.
Okay, so they seem to have a list.
They already have a list.
Internal enemies they need to bump off.
Yes.
So, but I think that's a problem which UPND has. PK, you've mentioned that Honorable Nkombo has been very consistent with his loyalty to President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND. But however, what is more shocking, find that some cadres around amongst themselves in the UPND, they are throwing some jabs at him.
But normally they are paid.
Exactly.
They are paid.
And such events, they don't just happen anyhow. No. One will just start from somewhere.
I mean,
you're right.
Two critical voices that the opposition must embrace. They should embrace Honorable Muchima. They should embrace
Honorable
Nkombo. When Chimbakambwili was fired from the PF, the UPND embraced him, and he was part of their campaign. So the same opposition also should do the same. Get Honorable Nkombo on your side. Get Honorable. It's democracy. I mean, if Mr. Katambo has just defected to UPND, why shouldn't Honorable Nkombo defect to?
No, there is actually a saying.
You see Katambo. I think director, give me that clip of picture of Honorable Katambo. You could see how he was kneeling before the former late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. A show of loyalty and love.
But before he's buried, he has defected.
Oh my God!
And we've just started the journey to Easter. Remember, Jesus went into Gethsemane, and there was a guy like Katambo, you know. And Jesus was like, remember guys,
one of you.
You're going to deny me 3 times.
So
and then Judas said, not me, Lord.
Let me land my discussion on the UPND convention. I said last time, and I want to repeat, for the sake of those who are joining us for the first time on this, I am happy that the UPND is holding its convention now. Because if they had held it any earlier, all the other opposition political parties that have not yet held their conventions would have been in trouble. Because the Registrar of Society would have said, you are submitting late, you are out of time. But the very fact that the ruling party will not submit any resolutions at the registrar until after the 15th. It gives a window of opportunity to other opposition parties to also go
find
and
themselves
lodge and submit.
Correct.
I love your logic.
God has a way of sorting out algebra. Yes. Mathematics with God is nothing.
The architect.
Is the architect, Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end.
Do you know what you have just said? If I may steal this as my minute. Is what's geopolitically happening. The United States of America imposed severe sanctions on the Islamic State of Iran, that they could not export their oil and everywhere else, and they did the same thing to Russia. But then, lo and behold, what has happened is, because Iran, when it was struck by the US and Israel, decided to close this little path where 20% of the oil goes through, they call the Strait of Hormuz. So therefore what happened, in simple languages, they choked the world of the much needed oil. So the United States of America now have no choice but to lift the sanctions on Russia and said, Russia, can you now start selling your oil? And then, unwittingly, they also lifted the sanctions of on Iran. Because Iran now controls that Strait of Hormuz. So they are letting through the ships and they are charging them. So at the end of this, Donald Trump wanted to choke both Russia and Iran.
He choked
but
himself.
Now Russia and Iran are making more money than ever before
out of the US.
What did you say about God?
The Alpha and the Omega.
Amen.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. We have to go. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for coming through. Be back next week. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Cheers.
Piquet, thank you so much for coming through.
It's an honor. In America, they salute the flag.
Thank you.
We salute the nation of Zambia.
Sometimes
as a symbol of loyalty.
Used to salute the helicopter.
Thank you so much for watching, dear viewers. We'll be back again next week. May God bless Zambia. May God bless Mother Africa. Good night.